Hello there. It is Sunday evening. We are 9:05 in London, UK. How's everybody doing? We are a little bit late, but that's our prerogative because we're women. I was just watching my co-hosts in their little boxes sing along to the music like that just now, and I was like, that is cool. So I'm just trying to fiddle with hair, so bear with me a minute. How's everyone doing? I'm just looking at all the people joining us on tonight's show. So as I say, I'm coming live from London, UK, 9:05 on the 5th of October. Can you believe we're actually in October? It's like 3 months and it's like, just the end of the year. So, and what a year it's been. Quite personally, I can't wait to see the back of it. I've had a shit year and a shit week, and it's bye-bye from me. But until then, you have one good day of the week, and that's a Sunday, and it's Wicked Women. And here we are, and I'm going to bring on, sadly, I've got to say, my lovely co-host Val, not well. She can't be here. But we were like, okay, love, don't worry, get better soon. We've got it covered. So I'm going to bring in I'm going to go to my fellow Brit for a change. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, darling. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Having a wonderful
How's your
day.
week been? As if I didn't know.
Oh, didn't really get up to much, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
I did get a lot of cuddles though from a certain basset hound though. So
you mean the basshole, which is finally asleep, the monster in the corner?
Good. He's been told, has he?
He's been reasonably good. I'm like, listen, you just got to hang on for another, let me just work this out. Another 4 or 5 days, and then your auntie's back, and he's like, yes. But they're over here being quiet right now. Let's hope it stays that way. But it's so nice for you to join us. You are getting quite the following on here.
Well, I'm having a look in the comments, and I can see a couple. I can claim a couple now.
It's like you're spreading the sparkle and wicked. So I'm really happy. This is a subject that I'm bringing on the lovely Virginia part in a second. But this is a subject you and I were talking about the other day, and Val and I talked about this a while ago about doing this. And I'm quite sad that she can't be here, or she's not here tonight, because it would be amazing if she was, because she would love this subject. So I'm going to bring in, if we can keep him on topic.
Good luck.
Keep him on topic. And the lovely Michael. Hello, sweetie.
Hello, ladies. Yeah, it's like I wake up every Sunday and I say, well, it's time for Austin Powers. The time for so you want to shag, baby.
I think that's another show. Didn't we do that one a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. And but yeah, I was telling my neighbor, this is what it is, and she's like, I think it's a little slow because I'm not getting it. I was like, well, that could be a disability when it comes to sex. I said, I'll try to work it in for you. I said, it's kind of painful, but that's like we're talking while we're prepping to come on. I said, and when I pulled up the show of the promo, she's like, oh, there's your Wendy. And I'm like, I'm Poseidon's dad. I'm Miles' dad. And now I finally get to take ownership of something back for myself. Now I'm like, finally.
But, what a lovely thing to say. Thank you.
And she's really lovely. I'm not going to put her in, but I tell them, I said, watch Wicked Women. Show it to your husband, show it to your boyfriend or significant other, whatever. I said, what else have you got to do on a Sunday? Football, boring. Can be like Terry, gotta watch my hockey. No,
Yeah, we won't talk about the lack of it. The thing is, I wanted to mention it is October, and that means that in the following Sundays coming up, we will be talking about some witchy stuff because it is the month, and we will also be doing a Halloween special, which means we'll all be dressing up and looking absolutely wonderful, and ideas on a postcard of what everybody wants us to dress up at. But Halloween is actually on a Friday.
Oh my goodness, it is.
So we may have
Friday
to
the 13th. No. Friday the 31st. Yeah, I told somebody that. I said Halloween is Friday the 13th. It's like, oh, really?
No,
I'm like-
it's on a Friday. So we got to do that, and also wanted to cover some spooky stuff, but also
I
I
like
want to
spooky.
give a, before we go into today's topic, a
Yes,
little bit of a hint about some shows to come. We have two shows which you guys don't know about, but I've been working on. There is a very good friend of mine. He's written an amazing book, and it's for the ladies. And his name is Dwayne Klassen, and he will be coming on, giving us a absolute first glimpse of it, really, sort of like a bit of a freebie show. So I'm really excited about that one to come. And also, we are going to be looking at an animal rescue as well in Bulgaria, which I think that's right, which will be amazing. We've done
Is that the same lady? Oh,
no,
so
it's a
that's
different
not-
lady, and it's. But you know, we like to give something back at Wicked Women, and so we've got these shows coming up. So there's lots to look forward to. We have, and there's a lot of energy change, you know, with bringing Sparkle, as I call her, the Sparkle in, and obviously we miss Val, and we can't wait for Val to come back.
Yeah.
But it's like we want more people to join us on Wicked Women because we love the comments. So tonight's show, love, sex, and disability. It's a subject that's been close to my heart that I wanted for a while, because when you have disabilities, as I do, and as we all do, actually, all of us here, sex and relationships is one of the hardest things to actually get. And I just wanted to bring this up before we go into the subject. Apparently 1 in 5 Americans has a disability.
Oh, Lord.
And they reckon there is over 40 to 50 million people. And these can be mental, physical, and cognitive. If we then go to the UK, in 2022 and 23, 16.1 million people were classified as disabled, which is 24% of the population.
Oof.
That's a hell of a lot of people, and apparently it's been rising. It's rising every year. And just to go to my other favorite country, as you all know, Canada, approximately 8 million Canadians between 15 and over, which is around 27% of the population, are disabled as well. So just using those 3 countries alone, you can see that disability is on the rise, and whether that's physical, mental, or emotional, I think you have to look at it and go, right, what the hell's going on here? So let's look at this. I mean, Michael, you know, let's from a guy's point of view, you're in the army, you were very, very fit. You had an accident in the army, and you then had an accident when you came out, giving you disabilities. How do you think that affected you as a man in that sort of relationship category?
Well, all of that still works well. It's just the back. It's like, you know, but yeah,
Let's say that.
You had to get that in first, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
yeah. All the boys are still hanging in there good. But it does, and we've joked about, you know, there wouldn't be a good one between, you know, all of it. You know what I'm saying? You know, bad backs and stuff like it, and it comes with age. But a lot of it is after you are so overstimulated mentally, and I see a lot of this in the army with the guys. And you know, the next thing you know, they're venturing out and trying new things because they're so pardon the language, so mentally fucked up that the vanilla stuff don't do it anymore. Everything has to be more extreme. You have to have more like danger of like getting caught, and it gets a lot of people, you know, and they go down that road, and it's like borderline psychotic what it takes, which is a mental illness, which is a disability. And I've heard some of the stories from the guys, and I'm like, you did what with who? When? Is that legal in this state? And they're like, oh, but that's what it takes. And I'm like, holy shit. And you know, and it does turn very, very dark sometimes.
But for you personally, Michael, what was it like?
You know, sometimes, you know, you got to feel like a closeness or something like that. And it becomes very, very robotic because you cannot open yourself up to feel. And it's more like just an act, not, you know, because you know, what is it they say? intimacy and ecstasy. Ecstasy has been out of the body, closer to God, or something. I remember reading that quote, and I'm thinking that you got to be able to open up and give all of yourself to somebody else for a small moment in time. And when you bring home physical and mental disabilities, you might not have the ability to like fully let yourself go because you're so used to being in control. You're so used to having things a certain way.
Absolutely. Really,
And,
you're taking it for granted,
and,
aren't you?
and I see the people and they talk about PDA and all this stuff. I'm like, that's cool. Go around showing everybody. And I'm like, no. But like I said, but I have seen that, because it seems like you become more closed off and stuff like that. And it's more harder to make not the physical connection per much, but the emotional and mental connection that comes with it. Like I said, it gets very, very robotic. It's like, I got to do this, and this. Then it's almost like scheduled. It's almost like everything's dress.
But disability in itself, I mean, relationships are hard work. Let's be honest. Every relationship is constant work. And when you have a disability in your relationship, all relationships need a universal connection and intimacy.
Yeah.
And you need those to connect to somebody sexually and emotionally, romantically. And all of a sudden you have a disability. Maybe you might consider something happened to you with disability. Other people may not. You can't walk. You've lost your use of an arm. You've had a stroke. You've had cancer, and you've had bits and pieces taken away from you. And there are mental health. There are so many disabilities out there, and there are so many stereotypes. I think that I often think that I have been in. I'm going to use myself for example before I come to the Sparkle, and literally I have chronic fatigue, and I also have other.
Them are called hidden disabilities, and a lot of people don't look at that. And
it took a long time for people to realize that it was a disability. And I remember,
they look fine, and they're the closest thing from, the farthest thing from being close to fine as they are. And and I started looking at the hidden disabilities and stuff. But I remember growing up. Well, not growing up, I was already grown. And me and my brother, we had this old friend, he's in a wheelchair. And we had rolled him on every gentleman's club that we could find. Just because the line was crippled didn't mean he didn't want to hunt. He had to have help. You know what I'm saying? But, and then I remember we went one place and they said, oh, we cannot accommodate his wheelchair. I said, that's fine. I said, Mickey, pick up his wheelchair. I got Joe. I chucked his ass up on my shoulder and I carried him in like the fireman's carry, because that's what you do. You help your buddy hunt. And I'm like, okay. But like I said, but when I saw the promo of the guy in the wheelchair getting the lap dance, I thought, boy, they're digging through some of my early 20s, 30s photos of me here. But no, just because somebody's disabled don't mean that the need and the want and the urge is not there. And I saw another meeting when I was looking this up. It shows this older guy. He's got gray hair, and he shows this really attractive woman in a little skirt. So just because the lion's teeth has got old and fallen out, don't mean he still don't have a hunger.
But
and like, what are you gonna do when you catch the prey? You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's going to chew for a minute. I'm like, but I'm like, I'm getting older. I'm 53 years old. This old dog still likes to hunt.
I get it.
I'm like,
but what I'm trying to say, get you back on topic,
all right,
is that with disabilities, I mean, let's look at it from a serious point of view at the moment, just for a bit. When you see someone in a wheelchair, or you see them with a stick, or whatever the disability may be, and you cannot always see a mental or emotional disability anyway.
No.
So for me, as I was saying before Michael Johnson, literally, I have chronic fatigue. Now, they didn't recognize that as a disability. I was in a wheelchair for quite a long time, and I've been in and out of a wheelchair quite a few times in my life. And one of the things that I discovered was that people wouldn't talk to me. They would talk to the people that were pushing me. And the guy I was actually engaged to at the time, he actually used to say to him, you need to talk to the beautiful lady in the chair, because it's her. And I remember feeling like I didn't exist. I was like, it didn't really matter what was going on in the chair department, because it was like, it was all about, if you're able-bodied, people see you very differently. If you tell someone you have disabilities, if you say to them, well, actually, I do have health issues and I do have disabilities, it can put them off you, because they go, oh, do I really want to take that on? Do I really
red
want to
flags.
get involved with that?
Yeah.
Well, are we going to be able to do this? And there is a lot of assumptions. I keep on calling her Sparkle, but I'm going back to Sparky. There is a lot of assumptions about people that if they're disabled, they couldn't possibly be sexy. They couldn't possibly want to have a relationship.
Yeah.
And if they do, that relationship must be very, what's your experience of it?
Very much similar to what you mentioned there, of as soon as you say, oh, hey, by the way, just so you know, I do have chronic pain, chronic fatigue. Oh, so I can't touch you then? No, that's not what I said. And it's full of assumption continuously of, okay, so you are disabled, so that means that I am limited in what I can do with you on a daily basis, and from an emotional standpoint and from a physical standpoint of what we can do together. And it's like, no. If I am walking somewhere and I go, oh, hang on a minute, maybe I need to sit down, I'll sit down for 5 minutes, I'll get up again afterwards, I'll be okay. A lot of the time, if you are working with someone in regards to doing something, going somewhere, anything like that, as we know, you can have that energy, which is built for that at that moment. Amazing. If for the next day, you might have to sit down for a little bit longer, that's the next day. It doesn't stop you from being a human being.
No, it seems like they're uneducated and unwilling to learn.
Yes.
To what and I tell them, what I carry with me is part of me. And the people who gives it a chance, most of them enjoy it. And the other part's like, holy shit, that's a lot. And and I get it. The personality is as big as I am, because you've been hit in the head a few times. Some of the things just don't work like they used to. And it gets very blunt, it gets very honest. And like you said, with the back injury, some days I can go 100% all day long, and time I crawl in the bed, with the dog, even the poor dog's looking at me like, no, Dad, you need to lay here for a while.
It's time to stop. Yeah.
And that's what I tell them. I tell them therapy animals. And that's another thing. I tell them these dogs are my emotional support blanket. So if somebody don't like that, dog hair is part of my life. Them are my four-legged companion. And it is what it is, if they can't take that on.
It is easier to have the relationship with a dog because they don't let you down. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. I want to go back to World War One, and I'm using this as an example. So in the World War One, a lot of men that came home from the war had trauma, shell shock, etc. They came home to their families. They were a different person from the person that they left. And obviously they were told to have a stiff upper lip. What's wrong with you? It doesn't matter. Emotional repression, detachment, strained relationships, and that passed down the family as time went on. They also obviously were disabled and not given any of the help that we are lucky enough to get today. They would lost limbs, have psychological breakdown, the relationships, and domestic violence was, what I'm saying is that when you have a disability, whether it's caused by trauma, whether it's caused by an accident, whether it's caused by an illness, the end result is still the same. It changes you forever. You're never going to be the person that you were before, if you were lucky enough to always be able-bodied. And for me, it was like, I didn't feel I was a person. I didn't feel like I was seen as if I had a purpose, if I had made a difference. And it still, I don't actually talk a lot about my health to people that don't know me that well, because I don't want to talk. I don't want to tell them what's wrong with me. If I told them, like, look at all these lists of things, because one autoimmune leads to another, you would actually look at me and go, I don't believe that. Because what happens is people see this, and they, but there are days. I used my stick this week. I was walking with Sparky this week. I had my stick. The wheelchair is always upstairs, hanging around, just looking good, in case it's needed. I think that you've got to realize that it's a shock to say, for instance, like Michael and other people that have had an accident or they've lost a limb or you've hit their head. And I've actually got I hit my head back in 2018, and I have nerve damage now. And when I'm really tired, I can stutter my words. I can't get my words out. I have to shut everything out, and it's caused a lot of trauma. And the thing is with that, people don't see it. They can't see it, but it's like
It's
sometimes
intracranial.
my memory has also changed. It's not like it once was. And I prided myself. I was like an elephant, I never forgot anything. And now I'm like, just Sparky, you and I have that in common, that we both have this similar illness and other autoimmune disorders. How does that make you feel when you go out dating, or you're looking for love, or passion, desire, whatever? And are you wary to tell someone what's going on?
Oh, completely. Because it's a similar sort of situation as to what we spoke about before. Of if I tell someone, or if I'm speaking to someone new, I have to start at the beginning. Yes, okay, everyone has to do that when they're dating, right? But I have like an additional list of things that I have to talk about. That I have to. Oh, hey, by the way, just so you know, I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this.
Pop it in there.
And you try and like casually drop it into conversation. And sometimes they go, "Oh wait, no, hang on. What is that? What does that mean? What is that?"
What does that
And
look
when
like?
you have to explain it every time, it's so difficult. Which is why
It gets
I mean-
tiring. It gets tiring.
oh my god, so much so. And that's kind of why I've taken a step back, and I'm just making friends now.
You know what I tell people? I come with an instruction manual. Please read for your benefit, not mine.
Flynn comes up with a really good point. He says people want to cherry pick their partners. That is true. And see physical or unseen disabilities as a negative, and avoid people who don't fit the mold of the partner they want. Have you
Amen.
ever gone? I mean, I've been on the dating sites. You guys have probably been on there or seen it. People go, "What do you do for a job?"
I don't,
What do you do for a
unfortunately.
job? And you're like, do I really want to turn around and say, this is what I do, or I have a work around my health? Because the moment you say, well, actually, I work around my health, or I'm able to do this, or I can't do that, they go, what's wrong with you? And then you're like,
Yep.
oh, I don't want to go in there. I don't bother opening up to someone. If someone, I have to see if someone's going to be around for quite a while before I'll even open up to them. What is the point otherwise? What is the point?
No, completely. And it drives me insane as well when you have that much, because again, very similar thing with me where, okay, I'm not necessarily, I've been told by the doctors I'm not allowed to work, because if I do work, I'm going to work myself to the bone because I don't know when to stop.
Yes.
Yeah. So you and I are very similar in regards to that. So what did
very.
I do? I went and started a business. Because why wouldn't I? Because I'm
Because
now
it makes
going,
you feel
wow,
like
I
you-
have time.
Yeah, but
I don't
it makes
have
you
time.
feel like you're making a difference as well.
Yeah, completely. So I've obviously now got what I do. I'm not advertising, but I do what I do now. And
She's got a website. Check it out.
I have multiple websites.
I only know one
that
that I can
sounds
find.
different.
Those kind of websites.
No, I was going to say that sounds different. No, wait, hang on, wait.
not only friends or anything.
Wait, no. Can confirm Sparkles doesn't know when to. Yeah, Flynn knows me quite well, so we've spoken before about like various disabilities and things like that, where we have to we've compared basically, as you do when you find someone else with a disability. You go, oh, what have you got? It's just a
Well,
fun
because
thing
you
that we
don't
do
feel
now.
so alone. I mean, going back to when Michael and I were we whippersnappers back in the good old 70s and 80s, disability was looked very, very differently as it's
yeah.
looked today. And
much
you
now.
kind of had to get on with it really back then. You were not given
They would
much.
beat the ADHD out of you.
they wouldn't give you anything much benefit. So from the UK point of view, they wouldn't really
Not
do
here
much
either.
welfare or anything like that. And on top of that, you had to work. Even if you had a disability, you had to work. And I think what's happened is, we've started to look at things in a very different way. But there is a stigma about being disabled. There is a stigma. If someone looks at you and go, well, you look well enough to work, what's wrong with you? Why aren't
You
you
don't
out
look
there
disabled.
working? And it's like, are you with me 24/7? Do you know what I look like when I don't? When I do Wicked Women, I rest all day because I know I'm going to have a late night and my energy is going to be pants. So I have to rest all day to do this. And sometimes when Wicked Women's,
I had a nap earlier.
yeah, like when Wicked Women's not on for a little while, it's because one of us is sick or there's something going on. And I think that what happens is if more people like Carleen came up with a very good point, is people don't have compassion. And
No.
I also think as well, disability is a word that's thrown around quite a lot. I've got a back issue. I've got a problem. I've got this. It's got that. Let me tell you, most people with disabilities who really are disabled and have constant hospital appointments, constant doctor appointments, in pain, never.
We've also had to go through doctors continuously going, it's not that bad. You're fine. Just take some paracetamol and have a nap. Take some paracetamol, drink some water, and go to sleep.
For all of the American
that doesn't work, mate.
Paracetamol is Tylenol.
No.
So I'll interpret for that. Like I said, because that's what Wendy used to ask me all the time. She said, "Have you took any paracetamol?" I said, "I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a good time." Then I come to find out, I googled it. It's Tylenol. I thought, well,
it's a Tylenol. Yeah.
I mean, Carly. I mean, I know when I've parked my car, and if I've used my blue badge, as we have, you guys, I think, call it handicapped in America.
It's got the little wheelchair on it, and it's like,
we call it the blue badge. I have parked my car, and people look at you when you get out, and they're like,
side eye you, and it's like,
why are you using the blue badge space? Why are you in the disabled spot?
I used to tell people that I was medically retarded, which I was. And they're like, "Oh, what happened to you?" So now I just tell them I'm a content creator, and they're like, "Oh, what, on YouTube or something?" I said, "Something like it." I don't get, what I'm saying? I just throw it out there. And they're like, "Well, what kind of content do you make?" I said, "Well, what kind of content do you want to watch?"
But do you not find, Michael, that, I mean, for me, love relationships, I have struggled with some of them because they want this Wendy. They want this Wendy that you see here, that's bouncy and has got loads of energy and she looks brilliant, or whatever word you want to, she looks amazing, whatever. They want that Wendy. They don't
24/7,
want the Wendy who's lying in bed, can't move, can barely lift her arm.
And
they don't want it. And so what happens is they kind of go, and I've had this, and I know you guys, this the eyes, what you're ill again.
And that's like, everybody's like,
we can't go out, we can't do anything.
What do you mean we can't do that? We planned that. I know we planned it, but I didn't plan this.
No, and I'll tell you what happened to me. I was seeing a lady, and I kept having bad dreams and like no sleep whatsoever. I'm talking about to the point where like ripping holes in the sheets, clearing off nightstands. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd just be so exhausted from fighting in my sleep all night. I'd fall down on the couch, and then when everything kind of settled, I'd go sleep on the couch. I'd get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go sleep till like 1 on the couch because I was so physically exhausted from the night before. She's like, "You're just a lazy motherfucker." I said, "Look, kick rocks. Unless you live in here with me, fuck off." And like, "Oh, now you're an asshole." No, I'm like, "No, unless you live in and that's like the other day. I went and saw my doctor. "Well, you need to see the lady upstairs. Is she qualified to deal with this?" And I said, "I don't think she is." And that's something like, I remember growing up, my aunt, my mom's sister, had lupus. To look at her from the outside, she looked perfectly fine. But but bad days. I seen her with the bad days. Everybody wants this. And I tell them, that's fantasy versus reality. This takes me. I sleep in on Sunday morning. I go in, and I ice pack my face and my back. Everybody here has got either an ice pack or a hot water bottle. Full disclosure.
It's true. It's true.
it ain't Christmas yet. Quit pushing it. My spooky season ain't got here. And I have saw, like Wendy has saw me at her best and her worst. You know what I'm saying? I saw her walking the dog the other day, and I'm thinking, I'm glad that Basil has short legs. She was barely moving. And and I'm like, and she's like, oh, don't jerk. And he had his little slicker on, and he's a proud little boy.
Because
But-
you still try
You
to
do,
keep,
and
to keep a normality of,
Yeah.
I'm just checking that he's being good, but what I felt in that relationship when it came to sex, sometimes you can't physically
no,
deal with it. And I've had the comments said to me in my lifetime, well, you could just lie there, right?
Oh, hang
yeah.
on.
I'll say it for you. Oh,
Just
fuck
lie
off,
there.
fuck all the way off, right?
Lie there and I'll do all the work. And you're just like, excuse me?
Every week you tell me something else which makes me want to murder more.
Yeah,
I want to point that out. Every week there's something.
So here, roll on your side and tuck your leg, or I will crush your head. It's like
Seriously, what makes somebody say something like that to
What
somebody?
makes them think it's okay?
a selfish prick. Say, hey, tell them, hell, if they want a sex doll, go buy one. They got an animatronic one now. It's like $39,000, and she's got an AI personality. If you just want an inanimate object to put your cock in, or do you want from China?
I know someone who sells them. I could do you a deal.
Yeah, we'll even put the Wicked Women brand tattoo on his ass cheek.
We need to have a Wicked Women definitely dildo and vibrator available at the hit store here. We do need that. But I
merch link in bio. Yeah, that's what you say. Merch link in bio.
I actually had a boyfriend actually stop dating me. This is going back some years now. And actually cheated on me with someone else because she was normal and they could go on dates and they could have it wasn't like she's got to do this, she's got to do that. And over the years that chips away at your self-esteem. And try and keep it on this subject. It chips away at your self-esteem, and being disabled is hard enough because it makes life harder anyway, having a disability. But then on top of that, you've got people's narrow-minded ways of looking at you.
Self-centered pricks, pricktivity.
But basically also as well, desexualizing you as well, because it's like, well, you couldn't possibly want sex. You couldn't possibly want to be frisky because you're disabled. I mean, you people don't do it, do you? I mean, some of the comments over the years, especially back then, because now you can't say so many things, but back when we were younger,
it was like, and they talk about disabled people and being sexual. I went to a club. It's in West Virginia. God bless the people from West Virginia. They're always a great entertainment. But it's called UFO Club. I thought, I'm into the paranormal. I believe in aliens. Let's go check it out. They had a one-legged stripper that worked 4 nights a week. And that girl was getting paid. I'm thinking, now I got more questions than answers, but you know what I'm saying? She didn't let it slow her down.
It's on a good subject, and Mike was just like, getting in there.
I'm thinking,
like there's the word sex is in the title. He's gone.
I said, Michael was a very good boy. I was raised by some Catholic nuns. I would never do anything out of pocket.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Says the guy with the. But anyway,
so believable.
Sparky, I was on. I've been on Bumble. I've been on Hinge, and I was on Bumble.
Hinge for the women. Message you first.
There was actually a couple of people on there with disabilities saying, "I actually am disabled. I do use a chair." Or I am, they were little people, and
what's the technical term for that now? Because every time I turn around, I get in trouble.
I love that. I mean, these little people. I mean, sorry, but
that's what I'm saying. But
it's okay. You can call it. But seriously, on the note, like you see someone with a disability, and I think good on them for actually putting themselves out there, because there is so much discrimination against disability.
Yeah. So I did a little test. I did a test once. So I because me and my data, I like being a bit of a nerd. Yeah. So I had a month where I went, screw it, I'm going to put on there, I am disabled, I have chronic fatigue, I have chronic pain, blah, 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 right? And then the following month, I took it all off. and just put on like a standard dating profile. I had more people want to be in contact with me on the second month when I didn't have all the disability stuff in there than in the first month. And I'm like, and I just did that for data. So
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen, but I wanted the proof.
She wanted an asshole check.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
the thing is, like, what is it that puts people off dating disabled people? Let's have a look at that. What would put them off dating a disabled person? Well, I suppose it involves more understanding. Some people aren't uncomfortable with illnesses. Some people
Close-minded.
they can't deal with stuff like that. And that you only have to mention the hospital doctor or white coat syndrome, as a friend of mine says it calls it. They run away. So they don't want to be dealing with somebody who's in and out of the hospital, up and down the doctors. Like, why would I want that in my life?
I think some of that comes back to a phobia, and people are feared of, you know, and that's like when I was in the Army, the two places that you would never hardly find a soldier was at the hospital or the funeral home.
Yep.
And if we showed up at either one of the two places, we really fucking liked you, because you know that one that tells you that you what's the word I'm looking for, that you are not invincible. You know, your starts with an M, and speaking of mental illness, there it went. Your mortality. It lets you know that you're mortal, and you would never see. And a lot of times when people hear, "I got to go to the doctor," well, what's wrong with you now?
Yeah,
Is it contagious? Yeah.
Why do you need to go again?
Again,
You only went the other week.
No, oh, is it catching? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm like, no, it's not sexually transmitted. Come here, I'll show you it works. And but you know, but like I said, but that's what it is. They almost act like you need to be put in a fucking leopard colony because you have more doctor's appointments than what they deem reasonable. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I like Flynn.
where I've come from.
Flynn
you know,
is so clever, isn't he?
I think it's the
it's
fear of the unknown and not knowing what tomorrow is going to hold for them. Dealing with a disabled partner, this could be due to lack of education or yes, true.
They're ignorant. Yeah.
The thing is also as well, is it sexy to walk into a party or a nightclub or a bar with someone in a wheelchair and that say this is my partner? Is it sexy? Because I think there's been a lot of people would turn and say they don't want to do that, because straight away they're going, oh look, you know, that's what I'm saying. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this subject tonight. It's really important is that we start to take away the stigma of some of this, because thereby the grace of God go all of us. You know, anything can give you a disability just like that. And 1 minute you've got one arm, you know, and you want to try and deal with it.
But what is it? Well, like I said, when I figured out what we was doing, I started looking. And there's some people that look for disabled people for fetishes, like that is missing a limb or missing a whatever. And like I said before, I look into this so y'all don't have to. You know, I've already got a lot of emotional baggage and damage that I'm dealing with.
He always goes for the odd stuff. Yeah.
You know,
that.
You know, it's just like this weird wheel that pops up. You know, I guess.
So what did you find out about the fetish?
There's a thing. It's called nugget porn. It's guys that look for women with no arms and no legs, and I'm thinking, what's the fun of that? But it's like really high up there on some of the fetish. I'm like, okay. Then it's like some of the intersex stuff. You know, people want, and I'm like, these people are. I'm like, wow, okay. Then I found out there's a woman that was born with 2 vaginas and a guy that was born with 2 penises, and I'm thinking, you know, that would be a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Because what else would you do with it? And I'm thinking. But you know, I figured, you know, that's probably a disability too. You know what I'm saying? You know, how would you introduce a partner, either male or female, on either side of it, and you say, "Look, I'm a little different," and they're like, "Really? How?" Well, it's one of the things I got to show you. I can't tell you. Then when you like show them, they're like, "What am I going to do with that? I have enough trouble dealing with one of it."
There was also like, as you say, disability comes in a huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, there's so many.
They call it the white elephant in the room or whatever. Yeah.
But also, as well, if we look at the basic disability, a wheelchair or someone with a stick, right?
Yeah, a cane. Yeah.
I've bought sexy canes. I have bought canes that I think are sexy, and I love them. But that's me taking control back with that.
look, that, Dr. House always had a cool cane. You know what I'm saying? And what was broke about him was not that the fact that he had a limp, it was his personality, But anyway, but that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm looking for. And sometimes I have a walking stick when I go on the farm or whatever, but I cannot find one to fit my personality. This reason I just push on through. But I need a cane that fits my personality.
I've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
canes with
yeah.
like big fake gems at the top of it, and I love it.
Get the text here, sorry. So I hope I don't spare. Thing is, like
Oh,
in
the bass hole's awake. Okay.
like
Yeah.
he's doing his own thing. What as a woman with a disability, regardless of what you call it, sometimes you don't feel very sexy, especially
No.
when you're in the chair, right? Especially when you're in that wheelchair, you do not feel sexy at all. You
But-
don't feel like when someone's pushing you, someone's going, "There's a sexy looking woman."
But you know what I also found? I found women doing thirst traps in wheelchairs, and they're very, very pretty, attractive women. Their legs might not work or something. You know what I'm saying? They might be something, but Cain and Abel. Oh, I like it. Rapid Dog said, but but I'm thinking, but they like you said, they dehumanize you because of a helping aid. That's what it is. It's an aid to help you get through your day. And now it's me a few days. Okay. Was a friend become ill during lockdown and now has me. He has a few days.
It has
Emmy.
ME, chronic fatigue.
Oh. I was going to say, I thought his cap locks got stuck on or her. But
No, I mean, Emmy, let's be honest. Let's look at Emmy because I
Yeah.
know we're joking here, but I want to talk about this. When Emmy came out, it was called the yuppie flu syndrome. It was people that were busy or were yuppies, and they burnt themselves out, and it came up as myalgic encephalomyelitis, which was obviously to do with the brain and the muscles. And I remember I was diagnosed with ME in 1987. I was 17 at the time. I went to bed at 17 on my 17th birthday, normal, and I woke up the next day and the rest of my life changed after that. That was the last normal day of my life when I was 17, and I went down the road of ME, and trying to get diagnosed was really, really hard. And then because as time's gone on, they now call it chronic fatigue, and you've got other illnesses that come along like fibromyalgia. And they come bigger and bigger, and it's like, but if you try and put makeup on to make yourself feel better, if you try and look nice to make you feel better, it's an effort. But if you do it, people go, well, you don't look ill. And it's almost like you've got no brain. If you've obviously got a disability or you've got an illness, why the hell have you got a brain? Because if you're supposed to be like over in the corner and just like a vegetable.
In a hospital gown, but the other day, and a lot of people don't know this, but I have a helper that comes in 3 days a week from the VA. They finally did something. They push in the right direction. And, check on Monday or whatever. And she had told me earlier, I don't feel good today, or I'm down or whatever. So, when is my butt? I'm going to call her and say, how are you feeling? Are you hanging in there? And I think I was sitting on the couch and my helper would come in. She's like, she always looks lovely. Look at her makeup. I said, she puts her makeup on because she has told me, put your face on and face the world. Don't, what I'm saying? I said, she is doing that for her mental well-being because her physical well-being is shit right now. And she's like, oh, I get it. I'm like, yeah. But like I said, sometimes, she's in his corner or whatever, sometimes I think we need to surround people that are educated, that are not pricks, that are truly in your corner, that know. And if you get a good enough circle around you, the rest of the world can go fuck off because,
that's a good point. I think
if you find good people, keep hold of them.
like I said, it takes a while.
Right. I think you want to be around compassionate, and educated is the word. People that actually have taken the time to educate themselves.
Yeah.
And I in a relationship, and I'm going to use this as someone I know without going into details about them. They are a mum, and their own children say to them, "Oh God, you're not ill again, are you? All you ever are is ill.
Oh yeah.
You're a hypochondriac. We don't want to hear about it anymore."
Yeah.
She can't discuss her health. That is disgusting in my book, because at the end of the day, something can happen to one of them, and then they'll be exactly in the same position. And
Because
this
some
is
of it is hereditary.
Yeah.
You know,
it
karma is
is.
a bitch, and
It
she
can
drives a big bus. And and like I said, and when I bring that up, it's not the two whatever. And Wendy probably remembers the day I'm talking about. But like I said, and it does make you feel better. I know it does because I've had people like, leave him alone. Michael has some things that he's working out. And and like I said, if you're gonna be a friend to somebody that has chronic illness or disability or whatever, sometimes you just might need to cheer them up a little bit or be in their corner and keep the uneducated people at bay. And I don't have a problem with it.
But I think in a relationship, and I think it's worse if you got disabled when you're in that relationship,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you were able-bodied when you
Yeah.
got in, and all of a sudden you've become disabled, so you can't do the things that you can't do anymore. Sex, for instance, if you lose a limb, or if you have cancer and you lose
Yeah.
your breast, or have whatever you see as
Yeah.
the disability, you're not the same person, and that partner could then look at you and go, well, you're not the woman or the man I remember. And it makes you
This,
feel like
th-
shit, because actually you are, but
yeah.
something happened to you.
It's like, oh, this is not what I was attracted to in the beginning.
It's not what I signed up for.
Very,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah. People stop inviting you out. I see that too. You're always
Yeah.
sick or unwell. Or you hear
Like,
the
at
little
the end of the
side
day,
comments.
if we get to the
Oh.
point of the day and I can't do it, I'll say, hey, look, I'm really sorry, but
Yeah.
and you'd like to think that if you're going out with a friend, they go, oh, you know what, it's fine, I get it, don't worry.
But
We
it's
can
still
we
the
can
little
go out another time.
snide remarks is like, well, if you feel up to it, or if
Yeah.
it's on your schedule, and
Or maybe
and
I should just go without you this time. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
or I've actually said, why didn't you go without me? Right? Why
Yeah,
didn't
I've done that
And
so many
where's
times.
Wendy? Oh, she's not well. She's not well again. Or it's like, oh, you get those things. Well, the other day when we went out, you were well enough to do it then, but you're not well enough to do it now. And it's like, do you think I'm picking and choosing it? And I absolutely do believe that they think that sometimes. I think they do
Yeah.
absolutely believe that we
Yeah.
use it. And maybe some people do. I mean, I'm not saying that people
Yeah.
don't. Maybe
They
some people do.
they use it as a different kind of crutch, and that's what do you call it? And it's not that I get up every day and spin a wheel. Am I going to be manic today, or am I going to be what do you call it? That you're like your peaks and valleys, and I can
Mhm.
tell, and the people who are around me a lot can say, and I've had people and sometimes I tell them with me, you just kind of got to let me know, because it's like this morning I was talking and they're like, damn, because it was just everybody was going to be a victim. You know what I'm saying? I woke up and it was but I had to, but you got to be around people who don't treat you. You know what I'm saying? They have come to accept you for who you are, and sometimes that's hard to find somebody to accept you for who that are. Well, you was a prick earlier. You're not going to get no love tonight, or your personality was shit today. It's not like I woke up and spun the fucking wheel of emotions this morning to see what you're going to get.
Okay, I want to ask
Yeah.
you, can you give me an incident in a relationship that your health caused an issue and you don't have to go into massive details, but where it caused an issue and how it made you feel?
Yeah. So like some people might remember what I spoke about last week. It's the same relationship. So when I was 20, I had an accident during rehearsals for a show that I was in. From there, my back seized up completely. I did what I could to try and release it. I went to the chiropractor. I did so much. I ended up on so much medication. But I got to a point where I felt unsafe in the relationship that I was in, because the person that I was with decided that even if I was in pain or couldn't if I said no, it was no because of what had happened. It's not because I actually want to say no. It's because of, oh, you had an accident, so you're not you don't necessarily realize I know that this is what you want. And well, as you can imagine. So yeah, quite a few times in that relationship.
How did that make you feel?
Vulnerable as hell. It was horrific. It was horrible. Which then makes it difficult to go back into a relationship because you have that fear of I couldn't protect myself at that point. Right? And it's literally come down to the fact that because I was in pain and because my muscles didn't work in the way that they should have done or as they would have done in previously, I couldn't protect myself. So I still have that fear of being able to protect myself in any situation. A few years ago, I couldn't leave the house because my anxiety had got so bad because of it. Now, the way that I'm fighting back is I go to the gym. I try and I'm trying to make myself as fit as I possibly can. And I know that I'm fitter because I've been able to do things in the last week that I wouldn't have been able to do a year ago. So it's great. And I know that I've moved forward and I know that I've been able to build against what that was and what happened. And that I know it doesn't define me, but sometimes it still creeps up. It still creeps in, which is probably why I do have an aversion to any kind of intimate situation. But I don't want that to be the case. So I'm working on it and I'm pushing and I'm building. And my main thing is to find someone I trust. But then 9 times out of 10, I end up going through a situation where I'm like, oh, I trust this person. This person doesn't actually want me. That's how it ends up being for me a lot of the time. But hey, it's one of those things that
And
happens.
believe me, it does get easier as you get older because you do get it really does change as as you get older with that thing, because I went through that myself. But what you're actually saying is with your health, it was a situation where basically you didn't feel safe because they didn't believe you, and obviously they use this as well against you. And I hear you, and I remember, like, I'm going to use there's so many I could actually use, but before I come to Michael, but I was dating someone, and unfortunately it was that one relationship of my life which I wish I'd never got involved in, but unfortunately I was. And he would say to me, please don't tell anyone what's wrong with you. Please don't tell anyone that you're not working or you haven't got a job at the moment. Just don't tell anyone, because when you start talking about it, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I just want to, like, it makes me cringe, and I look at how people look at you, and I just don't think people want to hear it. So if I was you, I just wouldn't mention it. And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, no, he's just when people ask you how you are, just say I'm fine, or say things. He said, don't you notice that people's eyes just go like that, or they just fall asleep, they're not interested? And I'm like, it really affected me mentally. It made me feel like it was like, so what you're saying is I should not be me. I should actually just go in and go, I'm fine, everything's fine. Yes, I'm a secretary or whatever. And do you know what still gets me today? Like, I know people say it. People say it like because they're just asking you out of like, oh, you're not at work today. Are you not at work today? And you're like, no, it's a day off, or you're ill or whatever.
I'm self-employed.
Why don't people think before they ask that? But it made me feel like when we went out, I would be like this. I'm fine. Yeah. And I would, and I shut myself down.
That's not you.
Because it was like I went through 4.5 years of being in an emotionally manipulative, physical abusive relationship, which is I stayed there for 4.5 years, and it was probably the worst time of my life. But my God, it gave me lessons, and I became a stronger woman from it. But I remember feeling like embarrassed and ashamed of myself. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe people do look at me. So now what I do, I just don't tell people. I don't tell people what's wrong with me. I will say to them, no, I'm at home today, or I'm doing this today, or whatever. I will not go into details, because you know what? If you're around in another month's time, or another 2 months' time, or maybe if you're around in 3, I will tell you, but otherwise I won't. And even now, I have never discussed on camera my health, all of my health situation, because I choose not to. But that doesn't mean to say that I don't sit here, because as a woman, it's made me feel non-sexy, non-wanted. I even had, well, because you're not always up to it, are you? So, no wonder I went elsewhere. All these little comments you get put by you, you just go. So I understand. And I think when people talk about disability or having a condition, I don't think you should put it under the carpet, and I don't think you should tell someone to not talk about it. There's a time and a place, of course, to go into certain details, but I think you should just be honest and say, this is who I am. Michael, can you give me a situation? I know you talked about one when you were on home, but can you give me a situation where you were in a relationship and something was said to you about your health?
Oh, I used to get it all the time with my ex-wife. There was no cure for what she had. We'd go out. Oh, you got to sit by the wall. You don't want to mingle in a crowd. You don't want to go to this concert because there's going to be a lot of people. And mentally with the PTSD, every crowd's a threat. There's always a threat in every crowd.
Yep.
And I said, you have no idea. And it'd be like, then you get home, and because I didn't want to go out and pile in a pile of 10,000 people's. I always said, go out into the valleys of the unwashed masses, like a petri jar of just stupid. And because I know how it gets when you go out around bars and clubs and concerts. A lot of times people are not at their best behavior anyway. And with the issues I got with the PTSD, be like, hey, let's stay in and watch a movie or whatever. Oh, you're not getting this. Oh, you can't take me out. So then they start playing, like you said, the gaslighting and using if you want this, you got to pretend to be normal and suck it up. Well, have a few drinks that'll loosen you up. No, a few drinks is going to turn me into a monster that nobody wants to deal with. And it's like you're going to fix my issues with alcohol for a crowd? No. But like I said, yeah, but there's a lot of, you have to sit at the back of the restaurant and look at the front of the door. You got to be different.
Back needs to be against the wall.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Everything's I make sure everything's funneled in.
Yep.
And it's going to come to me. I'm not going to hit. But she never got it, and she just turned it up, and it was always like the aggression level, because I did not want to go to some place with a bunch of stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we did go out to a restaurant, I'd tell, you just want extra attention. No, I'd like to eat my meal without sitting there clutching a butter knife, ready. Oh, what's that? Said my ex said PTSD.
So
they don't understand
to go out when you
does.
When you have a disability,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot of energy, mental energy and physical energy. And you come home and when I finish Wicked Women, I'm exhausted. And literally I fall into bed. And next day my throat is really sore and swollen. And I'm like, I'm not good. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have to do something that makes you feel good in life, because if you don't, you won't do anything. But
that's why I get up and put my makeup on every day.
And one of the reasons I do that every day is because I had a breakdown, and it was so bad that I stopped being me. I stopped putting my makeup on. And one day my doctor said to me, I'm going to set you a task that every day I want you to get up, put your makeup on, because you want to do it. You want to do it and you want to feel good. And you know what? I did it. And every day I've kept that because it's my time for me. Mm-hmm. Not that I get much at the moment of that with the dinosaur, but
with the wrestle.
I don't. But the thing is as well is I'm also frightened to get close to someone emotionally, because it means I have to open up about my health and my disabilities. And I don't want to do that, because I know 9 times out of 10.
As soon as you do.
And you know,
Yeah.
and this is a little behind the scenes. I have talked to Wendy while she does her makeup, and I've seen the bass hole or dinosaur try to eat her makeup sponge or whatever. And you know,
Yes,
and that
I've been holding on to the bass hole when
you know,
that's
but
happened.
and it's like but you know, and that's what it is, and that's what it goes back to having good people in your life, people that you feel comfortable enough to let you in at your vulnerable moments. And I think we all need that from time to time. And and like I said, you know, find somebody that's going to defend you without being asked to defend you. And you know, because like I said, I had talked to Wendy earlier, and I was like, and she told me I don't feel well. And somebody's like, well, she looks great. Well, she puts her makeup on for her. This is her routine. This is what gets her through the day. And she didn't have to say a word. And that's what I said. You know, you just have to surround your people, or surround yourself with positive people, and basically tell the assholes, you know, to kick rocks. And I said, and I'm reading this. Miss Wendy understands sacrifice. My experience wicked.
Quiet, Wendy, you're lovely.
Yeah, that's it.
That means a lot, because Val and I both have health issues, and we put. I said I obviously Wicked Women is my baby, as you know, but I put a lot of myself, the promo, everything else is in it, and it means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you very much for that comment. But if I sat here and told you half, I mean, it started off as one condition. There's now 10, and they're all autoimmune, and they all intermingle. And when you go to the hospital and the doctor looks at you and goes,
Are you sure?
and you're just
Yes, I'm
like,
fucking
I
sure.
feel like I'll go in the freak bin, shall I? I'll just go in the freak bin. But I think also why I don't get involved in relationships anymore, and let me put this straight. There are not many people out there worth getting into a relationship with, because they're either unemotionally avoidable, unemotionally consistent, they're fucked up, they've got their own trauma or demons,
Married.
or they say they want to be in a relationship with you, and then they'll find,
And then they go, oh, wait, hang on a minute.
and they find a reason to get out of it. So quite frankly, the whole reasons of it. But you think, well, maybe there is someone out there that I would like to spend the rest of my life with, and I would like to, share my life. But the thing is, I'm terrified to open up and say to them, I'm under 3 or 4 consultants. I see them on a regular basis. I'm up again for another hot test at the hospital. And it's just like, people go, really? What the fuck? And they don't want to be a part of that.
I told you, honey, dating at our age is like going to Goodwill, trying to find something that is not wore out and don't smell funny. We're dating over 50, and like I said, I've said that before. It's like shopping at the Goodwill. It's a little fucked up, but you might be able to wear it in a pinch. It's like,
and also when I remember for my 18th birthday, I was ill, and I was in a dressing gown, and I couldn't celebrate it. My 21st birthday, I was ill in a wheelchair, so I never had those birthdays. It was my 25th or 30th before I could actually have a big birthday.
No coming out party.
And my mum actually says to me, you should write a book about my mum, bless her heart, she knew everything to a T. But it's like, so when I got married, and I had to obviously tell, my first husband was amazing. He didn't have a problem with it whatsoever. It took a while, mind you, like sex. I couldn't have sex all the time. I couldn't be energetic. I couldn't do this position. I couldn't put my arm there or my leg there. And, so he was very, very understanding and very supportive, hence why we're still very good friends today. My second husband, unfortunately, found it very, very difficult to deal, not at the beginning, but as time went on, very, very difficult to carry on. He had his own demons, mind you, but he found it very difficult. And I remember when you are really ill and you're really low and down, and you say to your partner, please, I don't want to be on my own, and they're going out somewhere and doing their own thing, and you feel so bad asking them to stay with you, and you do. Let me tell you, if anybody asks you that, most of the time, 99% of the time, we feel really bad asking you to stay home. But if we're asking you to stay because either anxiety is really high, or we're feeling really shit, or everything's really hurting, there's a reason for it. But now, I said to Sparky the other day, I'm sick of being on my own. I'm so sick of being on my own. I don't want to be on my own anymore. But the other half of me doesn't want to share my life with someone who's like this.
No shit. That's true. I tell people,
Yeah.
buy a dog. You know, and, I'm like, and I got 2 of them. You know, and you know, and yeah,
That
the
doesn't work.
battle. But you know,
It's
yeah,
not
and
working.
Still working.
and a lot of times, you know, and I tell them it's crazy. I have, you know, the female and the male pit, and everybody think the female would be the cuddling or whatever. It's the big old male, you know. And when I've seen her pictures, you know, he'd be cuddled up on me. He's like, oh, my poor dad, you know, he's such a loving boy. And sometimes I tell him, all thing you need is a hug with fur paws and a wet nose, and that
And
helps
no
my
nails,
entire life.
preferably.
And no nails. Oh,
But I think also being intimate with someone, let's, you know, when
good luck
you
if you get pets for that.
when you have
They're curious.
problem or any, I mean, I'm using this as an example. If you have a sexual disease that has not left you, using the word like herpes or genital warts or
Ooh.
HIV or anything like that,
Mm.
and you meet someone amazing and you really, really like them, and you have to say to them, if you have the kudos
Yeah.
and the guts to say to someone,
If
I
you're a
have
decent
this,
person.
you will probably find that most people will run a mile
Oh,
because nobody wants to take that.
yeah.
Nobody,
Gone.
that's what they think. Nobody wants to take that on. There are people that will, there are people that won't. So why the hell would you open yourself up to be intimate and tell about your vulnerabilities? It's the same with disabilities. Why the hell would you open yourself up and go, so what are you doing tomorrow? How's work? Have you had a busy day at work? And you're just like, I don't want to lie to these people, but at the same time, I don't want to be open.
Yeah.
I was going
So
to
it's
tell
like,
you,
what do you say?
there is a dating site for people with STDs, and they break it down by categories. If you got herpes, if you got what's the other one that's or the general warts or the outbreaks or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, and I found that I'm like, boy, these people are really, really getting in depth with these dating sites. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's like, oh, so yeah. Say, have you had a flare up?
If you think about it, like if you had a really active sex life with your partner,
Bang,
then
Carlene says that's
and
around.
then you lose your leg or you lose your arm or something like that.
There goes the nugget.
How are you going to look at that situation about getting jiggy? You can't, maybe you can't hold them the same way. Maybe you can't do something a certain way. That can make you feel like you're not the man or the woman that you once were. Especially with women when they lose their breasts from cancer.
I have seen women not really feel like much of a woman.
Yeah.
And I've seen other women embraces. Kat Timms, you know, that's on one of the shows I watch at night. She found out she had breast cancer when she gave birth to her little boy. And she said, there's only A cups he wasn't worth dying for. She said, the doctor told me we could always go bigger. And it's kudos to her because she had the double mastectomy. And now that she's back, you know, she embraced it. My ex-mother-in-law, double mastectomy, never would get, you know, the implants or any of the reconstructive. And there was a lady that I was in the Army with that basically adopted me, and she was great. And to look at her, you would have never knew that she had breast cancer because she had it, and they medical retarded, and she went to work as a GSA. And she told me, she said, I've had breast cancer. And I was like, really? She said, I wasn't born with these. I'm 54 years old, you know. And she's like, you know, she said, and I got tickled. And then she had about the same attitude that like Kat had, you know. It's like, you know, B cups ain't worth dying for. And I'm like, and I've heard that a couple of times. And the women who do that, I think, you know, that is the sense of humor that it has to be. And that goes like KB with lung cancer. KB woke up one day and said, you know, lung cancer ain't going to define my life. You know, he can get fucked. And, you know, he still smokes and he still does whatever he wants to do. Yeah, KB's a different beast.
That's a good point, Michael. What do you do if you do have a disability? I mean, from a positive point of note, how would you approach that with somebody, or what would you do?
I embrace my mental health. I figure it will be a show every day. Tune in to watch it fall apart. You know, I'm like, and the people who know me, yeah, they know that's part of my charm and personality. And you know, I used to fight it or try to hide it because I used to, what do you call it? I'd put a facade up, and it always had to be
masking.
like, yeah, I'm masking, and I always like try to be like. And I told him, I said, hey, if you don't like this personality, wait 15 minutes. The other one
There'll be
will
another
rotate.
one.
Get right, hit a rotate too. And like I said, and it's like I have figured out that it's either what do you call it? It's manic and something. I forget what the other word is. It's left me, but you get like really really high, then you hit the lows. It's either manic or
Mm.
depressed, and I can go from manic to depressed really quick, and it goes up and down, up and down. And depression takes so much energy out of you; it just
Depression.
wipes you out.
It's a
So
killer.
much.
I mean,
And
it
and
kills all your mojos, all your good stuff. I mean,
and
it
and and like I said, Wendy has known me long enough; she can tell when the depression is. I get
Mm.
real withdrawn. I get real pulled into myself. The door will stay shut, and the only thing I want around me. I talk a lot about my dogs. My dogs are lifesavers to me because they still got to eat, they still got to go pee and go poop, and I got a female that will scream at you that says, "Let me outside," and that keeps you driven. But if I'm having like really really happy days, she gets a lot of pictures up beside and looking cute, and other days, we're covered up under a blanket with our eye mask on, just hiding from the world, and and that's what I say. You've got to learn to be comfortable with the stuff that you have going on, either mentally or physically, with you before you can go out and let other people experience the joy of what is your life. And the people that are around me that want to be part of it, I don't have no complaints. They seem like they're having fun. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know. And like I said, and then Steve said Michael's doggies. Anybody that knows me, like I said, I get known as Poseidon's dad, Milo's dad. It's like I'm not even there. That they see the dogs and it's like boom. So
But I think there's
I'm fine with
sometimes
that.
why people have animals over relationships. It's
Yeah,
because
because they
they're
don't let you
let
down. They
down
love
so
unconditional.
much by human beings. They want unconditional love, someone who doesn't judge them, no matter what they
Yeah,
look like, how you're feeling, they're going to love you. I mean, I can't wait till
yeah.
Huckleberry's actually 2 or 3 because life will be so much easier because he's the biggest basshole in the world. He
He
really, really
is.
is. He's driving
Tea
me
I
towels,
insane.
confirm.
If
clothes,
anybody wants to
coat.
adopt him or have him for weekends, please just write down the note because
And he
I'll
keeps
send him
getting bigger too, don't he? And he just keeps
He's
growing
not done
bigger.
yet.
No, and
He's
he's
over 30 kilos at this point.
but
what is that? 60 pounds.
for me it's like I've gone on to I think I've reached a point where love's concerned, it's like I'd love to fall in love. I would love to fall in love, and every time I've got hurt. So it seems that
It's a danger.
it's my lot
You
in
do.
life to get hurt. And so what I do
Doesn't
now
have
is
to
I
be.
only give so much of myself and I hold a lot of it back.
That's it.
But you know, Sparky's seen me, Michael's seen me at a really low ebb, and it's like I would do anything to have someone at home to put their arm around you and go, "You're all right, girl. I'm here.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Let's get a blanket, cup of tea, whatever. Let's do this." Right? Just to know there is someone beside me with love and compassion and actual really wanting to be there. And I remember, like, as I said, I've got some classic sayings. Another one by another boyfriend where in the years of dating, every time I leave, you seem to like get worse and want me to stay. Well, no, I feel shit anyway, but it is getting worse. And it's like and in the end, I want them to go. I want them to leave because that way, then I don't have to put up with the judgment, the looks, because I'm a really positive person. I don't talk about it unless I'm talking about it in a subject or it comes
Yeah.
up. I'm a positive person. I'm
Very
glass.
driven.
I'm also like the Lost. What was that guy? Locke out of Lost. Don't tell me what I can't do because I'm going to go and fucking do it.
Because
Even
the pair of us are stubborn as shit.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do it. And so you're never going to get a 67 Impala. Got it. You're never going to go
Mhm.
to Canada. Did it. So at the end of the
And it's
day,
still better than a Volkswagen, right?
yeah, like literally, I'm
Better than a Beetle
exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
You've got to do it. And I think that my advice to anyone who's watching the show and in that is like, you have to be true to yourself. You have to stand in your own power best you can and go, this is me. you either love me and take me as I am, or you don't take me at all.
Yep.
And would you not agree with that, Sparky?
Oh, so completely, totally, absolutely. And for me, obviously, I mentioned earlier on, I have so much love to give, and yet cannot give it because I do not trust.
You cannot find an
And
outlet that you trust to give you your love
yeah,
to.
yeah. But then I also have the side of it of I will give love, but this the people I choose don't want it. So there's also that as well, which is also good fun. But that's just part of me, really.
Do you think
I
that
als-
there's almost an unconscious part of you that gives it to someone knowing that they're not going to
Oh,
be the right one?
probably more than likely
Because
because I know
tend
that
to do
I'm going to be rejected immediately, and I don't have to worry about being in a relationship with
because you
someone
know it's coming.
because I'm going to get rejected immediately anyway.
It's pre-planned. What is it? You pre-plan the devastation of a potential relationship, so
Mm.
it's like a predetermined outcome, and I get that, and I see a lot of people do that, and that's like me and the doctor's receptionist had a run in the other day, and I was really triggered, and she hung up on me, and I was like, lady, you have no idea. And I even told my doctor, I was like, you should not have somebody like that answering the phone, dealing with the issues. As one, they're going to be uneducated. Two, they're not going to have no compassion. So, it's just, like even in relationships, not even dealing with sex, but like, your day to day interactions that you have to have with people in general. And that's what I told her. I said, I did not cuss her. And she's like, oh, how do you know? I said, because I'm inner destructive, not outer destructive. Just because I'm cursing don't mean I'm cursing her. Then I came in and she's talking about having a cup of tea. And the lady that comes and helps me, she's like, oh, Michael, what are you drinking? I said, it's green tea. It's from England. I said, I'll sweeten it with honey. I said, I'll make you a cup. So I'm having my tea. Hers gets done. I tell her, you got to steep it or whatever. Because from the English side, I thought I knew how to make tea, but I later figured out I was doing it totally wrong because Americans don't know how to make tea properly without a kettle.
No.
But anyway, so I made her a cup of tea, and then I brought it in. I told her, I said, here, try the tea. I said, it's really good. I said, the chamomile stuff really helps me kind of chill out. I said, Nurse Wendy told me, don't put so much caffeine in you that when you're already fucking peaked, that you need more. I said, the chamomile tea. She took a drink. She's like, holy shit, I was like, what? I said, it's an acquired taste. She said, you're eccentric. I said, no, eccentric, you have money. I'm fucking weird. All right. Diagnose me with the right, whatever. But no, but the whole cup of tea and stuff, sometimes it helps. And I tell people,
I have new mugs and I am so excited. I mean, I'm using one of them now and I'm so excited to have so much tea.
What does the new mug say?
It's a fortune teller mug.
Oh,
I found it in someone's cupboard and went, oh, I like that.
Coveted it from me. The other thing I want to say as well, though, is like, it's, I think.
So what do you call it? What do you call it when you find what's the word I'm looking for that's in England?
If you go back to TV and social media, they're now putting more disabled people in things like using as an example, EastEnders soap opera, even Doctor Who's had them as well.
Yeah.
There seems to be like a real trend now of people, thankfully, giving abled and disabled parts in big shows alongside each other. That's really good. It's taking years for that to happen.
So a little nugget from me, if you like. So the latest season of Doctor Who, they had the camp where they put all of the disabled people, and with all of the actors that they chose in that scene were specifically chosen because they were disabled. So that that's why I'm in it with my stick.
But there's
it's great.
Often I noticed there was a lady in it. She had only one arm. It's obviously the girl in a wheelchair, and I just think it's amazing. My young niece is just turned 21. She's just started university. We're super proud of her, and she's following in her auntie's footsteps, of course. But it's like she has a disability. She has chronic fatigue. and she has a stick as well, and she's 21, and she says people don't ask me to parties, or if they do ask me, they go, yeah, it's going to be a bit busy, it's going to be a bit you might not be able to might not be able to do this all night. She goes, and I get the impression sometimes they just don't want me there because they look at me and like, who wants you with your stick and everything.
You're not
And
cool
I
enough.
think I know how she feels. I was 17 when I became disabled, and she's 20. She was roughly the same age. It seems like history does strike twice in the same family. But I think looking back now, being disabled has changed me for the better. Having disabilities has changed me for the better. I'm a much nicer, compassionate, understanding person. It made me train as a counselor. Because I knew what it was like to feel out of control, which is why I went into counseling, why I decided to become a therapist. Because I wanted to help people that felt that were out of control.
I hate being out of control
or needing help. And I think if I hadn't had that road, I wouldn't have gone down the road I have with disability. And I still think, my path, I don't know where my path goes. I'm at that crossroads of my life where I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing? Menopause as well as a woman. I just wanted to bring this in quickly. Menopause as a woman really changes your body as well. Just as you're starting to live with a health condition, menopause comes along, kicks everything out, and you're like, I can't have sex as much as I wanted to because everything's changed down there. It's painful. I'm having constant UTIs. I don't have a sex drive anymore. Now I feel like an even bigger freak because I've got something else to deal with. And I think it's all about communication and understanding and being with someone who actually does give a fuck. And actually, who they are. And if you start to see warning signs with looking up and the comments and everything, get out, right?
Break contact,
Completely.
pull your parachute, haul ass. And that's and that's like I said that the other day, and it's not that I try to make Wendy giggle or whatever or lose it, but I'm seem to be getting it. Like I said, my personality disorder seems like it's been working overtime. And that's like when Val says, Michael, close up the show. I said, if you deal with people who cannot take you for who you are, wish them well, and I hope they have the day they deserve.
I have a T-shirt that says on the back,
That's it.
I hope you have the day you deserve.
And
I love it.
And when I tell people that, they're like, that's harsh. Well, no. If you cannot be loving and kind to people and understanding, you deserve to have you deserve to have them kind of days. And I'm like,
I think you're right. Like talking is and communication is the best thing to say. Once you actually feel like you're safe environment and you can tell them, because the thing is, let's just, before we end this subject, mental health, depression, panic attacks, anxiety, PTSD, you can't always see them. No. You can't see them because people hide them. We've put a mask over them. I'm fine. Everything's good. I'm carrying on with work. I'm carrying on with the family.
That's where I can cheat. So I can cheat that because I have this weird thing where I can feel what another person is feeling. So if the anxiety is increasing, I can feel that. So I don't know why I wanted to mention that, but
like an empath.
But do you not find that when you actually say to someone, like, because I was diagnosed with PTSD earlier on this year, and I was like, isn't that only what army people have? And the doctor looked at me and said, no,
I've got it as well.
Everybody can get PTSD, and you have it, and I do have it. And this woman that you see here is the one who's basically doing the show, and I have to be in control and I have to keep it all going. But the Wendy behind the scenes, when the PTSD comes out, is a very, very different person. And I fall apart, and I every day is a struggle to keep going every day. And there have been times in the last year that I wanted to walk into the sea. And I was dating someone at the time who poor bugger, probably didn't know what he was taking on. But he had a girlfriend that was fine and then went down very, very quickly. And it was like, I just want to walk in the sea. I was constantly crying, wanting to just end it all and just not be here. And people didn't know that because you don't tell people it. And I think more of us did talk about it and make it understandable. Then we're helping other people. And I remember he would physically pick me up and he would hold me. and he didn't know what to say or do. And ultimately, our relationship ended not because of that, but I'm sure it played a part. But I'll always be very grateful to him for actually encouraging me to get a basso, but also it literally being there for me at that time. And I think that sometimes when you get involved with someone, you don't tell them that you've got depression. It's just a subject that's very close to my heart. I know people right now that are struggling with depression, and they go into the darkness and the next thing you know, your relationship's completely changed, and you don't,
Yeah.
you've gone from seeing one person to completely different, and it was always there in the background, and maybe it was never talked about, or it actually can be like this. And as a partner, or I dated someone, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because if it makes a difference, I dated someone whose the mum passed away. They became very depressed. And it was like darkness around them for years. And I remember, like, I was totally pushed away. When you have depression, PTSD, and anxiety, we push people away. We really actually push
Yeah.
people away, because we don't want you to have to deal with some of the things that we're dealing with. But actually, if someone really loves you, they will deal with it, and they
If
will.
they're stubborn enough.
They will dig their way back in. And another thing, like I said, with a lot of the issues, if I get interested in something, it consumes me. And when it consumes me, it's like amateur radio. And it's just something, and it piqued my interest for just a few minutes. And now, anybody that's in my life, I'm like, I'm playing radio, and it's like, and they're like, but wasn't you playing with the radio? Yeah, but I have to order a new one. Why? Don't you already have like 8 of them? Yeah, but I need one more. And it's the little things that can set people off. And once they're pissed at you because they think you're fucking weird, there goes your sex life. Because you're gonna be punished because you become what's the word I'm looking, like compulsive with stuff. What is it? What do you call, like when you wash your hands too much? And it's like you just have to more, and it consumes you. Then one day you wake up and you're like, well, look, that was a fun run. Then you go home to your next obsession of
The
whatever.
hyperfixation.
The hyperfixation. And as long as you're hyperfixation on something, you have to pull more of it in. Yeah, OCD. But it's not like OCD. I wish I had OCD to clean my house. My house is, with the dogs and everything.
But OCD could be all manner of different things.
And that's what I tell people. And it's like I said,
because it makes us feel safe because we're in control.
It's it. And it's like, oh, I can learn this. And where I had the stroke, or the mini stroke last October, that was part of my personality. Michael can recall anything about whatever, in his in the fine motor skills and the cognitive ability, I could feel a difference on. And when I started that, Dave, out of Vegas, I don't see him on there. He's been sick, and I hope he feels better. That's another thing. That's another one. Dave, is chronically sick, and I hear people, give him shit all the time. Well, why ain't you doing whatever? And the man's sick. And I'm like, leave Uncle Dave alone.
And sometimes they need to see that illness, and you're like, cut me open. If you cut me open, you might never see that. Sparky, do you feel like the before and after before you got sick, and the after sick? What was she like before you got sick?
I have had like 3 different areas. So before I had my accident, where I was in theatre and I was performing 4 times a year on stage in various locations, whether that was Farnham, down at the Minack Theatre. I performed on the Minack Theatre. I was so many things, and I was so busy all the time. I did pantomimes, I did Shakespeare, I did so many things, and I was buzzing. I was having a great time. I was living my best life at that point. Then I had the accident. From there, I went downhill very quickly, because obviously I had someone who didn't support me, and who would not support me and never will support me, and never would have done. So I understand that now. And then I worked towards getting better, and I had physical capability again, which was great. I still wasn't as strong as I wanted to be, but I had the physical capability again. And then COVID times happened, and I got COVID 4 times. After that, I then went into my sales job where I was doing 16-hour days. And, well, it was actually during COVID, actually, I started doing that. And then I was doing the 16-hour days, and then all of a sudden my body just started to decline, where I'd be on my feet continuously all day, every day. I'd be training in the morning, and people would be, it would be great. And I was the person that people would go to for help. They would come to me and hey, can I speak to you about this? Absolutely, yes. Then we finish up. Can I get a hug? Yes. I was known as the person in the office who gave the best hugs. So I quite like that.
I said that wouldn't work here. That'd be an HR nightmare. Why are
Right?
you
It was close to being, but it was fine. And then I started to decline with that job as well. And I just it got frustrating. And then I ended up having to I was standing with a stick. I was walking with a stick. I was taking too much time off stand. I wasn't earning enough money because I couldn't do the sales, and it was getting more and more and more frustrating. I then was told, "Hey, you have fibromyalgia. You have chronic fatigue. The chronic pain has been there for the last 11 years now of the daily pain that you just have to just deal with." And I've been on all sorts of weird and wonderful wacky medications over the years, which at one point completely changed my personality. And I was a completely different person, and I was miserable, and I was angry continuously, and I was not the kind of person that anyone would want to be around. So I've had to learn how to manage my pain and all of the issues that I have in order to be able to be the person that I want to be. And it completely changes how you are, because as soon as there's that moment, I'm lucky in the way of, from a personality perspective, I'm through what had changed me. But yeah, this time 2 years ago, I was not a nice person. I was not a nice person. And people will say, no, like, you're wrong, because I was doing the sales job at that time. But that was an act. I had to be a nice person to people so that my daily life worked. But I was not a nice individual. Everything that happened in my head of the possibility of causing pain, and because I'm in pain, why am I the only one in pain? Why? Like, so it's a stupid thing of when you do it as a joke, but you trip someone up on purpose. Oh, it's a joke, it's funny. No, I wanted you to get hurt. And I'm like, that's not me. I care. I care so much. I care too much. I will do anything for people I care about. And that is who I am. I don't want to cause pain to people. So I'm lucky that I'm now through that second part of the pain that I was in. I'm still in pain, but I've managed to clear up who I was in regards to my personality. If that makes any sense.
No, thank you for sharing that, Michael. What do you? I will keep you on topic here, but the Michael before to the Michael after, what do you remember about before your disability, who you were and who you are now?
I was my mom actually covered it best, and she told one of my command sergeant majors one time, "I wish you'd give me back the son I gave you. The son I gave you was full of life, happy. Everything was half full. The world was this big oyster, and it was just there for the taking." And she told him the son you got that they had give her back, very jaded, very dark, quick to anger. And and when I heard her tell, and I had to come down and have a whole like internal look, and and some things happen. They can Google it. But I was still dealing with things the way that it felt right to deal with, which I found out
But
now
who
you
do you
cannot
feel
legally do that.
like
Uh,
who do you feel like you
and
were to who you are now? What
and
difference do you see in you?
and now through Valor Show, I met Wendy, and we talked about and we talked about a lot of the changes that we saw since I've met her. I went back to school, then I got sick again. And I'm still the whole behavioral health thing. And I tell people, once you go into counseling and you start like picking your own brain apart, you better be careful of that. And I'm not ashamed to say, I'm 202 pounds. I'm 6'3". And I tell you what, some of the things I did, I'd be in here bawling like a baby. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? But it was unprocessed trauma. And I figured the older I get, the more that I process it, the more I feel good about myself. And that's like I was saying about my neighbor earlier. Her little boy, he's the cutest little thing. And she said, he absolutely loves you to death. I said, kids and dogs. I said, most of the time it's the other people that I have a problem with. You know what I'm saying? But it's like kids, puppies and old people, think wrong of
Do
me.
you think that you're a better person,
Yeah,
Michael?
I think and we all get better as we grow with age and we kind of mellow out or whatever. And that's like I spoke to Chandler earlier and was talking about his little girl and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, you make me sound like an old grandpa. Make sure your seatbelt buckle. If you're going to paint the house, make sure you open the window and let, pull the fumes out. Don't hurt the baby. I said, you're making me sound old as fuck. But you know what? Deep down, I fuss at him about it or whatever, or fuss with him. But deep down, it makes me feel good because I see this little girl growing and learning. And it's like, it was like I have fought so like, to get to that point in my life so I can like be that overprotective of this little bitty creature that's going to go out and tackle the world. And that's the same way with the neighbors, their little boy. I see him, he's like 5 years old, I think now, just wide open, all the little boy you can be. And sometimes you go by, he might be Pooh Bear, and if you don't know what that is, the only thing you have on is a t-shirt, and he's 5 years old and he's running to the hayfield, cheeks, just like Pooh Bear. And I thought, boy, is he lucky. I would love to just be able to run through my yard like Pooh Bear, but I'd be on a list. But no, like I said, I have figured out the older me, the happier Michael. Just accept some things you can't fix stupid. You might be able to muffle it with duct tape for a while, but that's against the law too, from what I hear. And you know what I'm saying? And I have learned, don't surround yourself with shitty people. Keep your circle small, like I said earlier. If they cannot support you and accept you for who you are, fuck them. They don't need to be in your life. They don't need to be part of your whole aura. They don't need. That's like and that's like I've got really lucky with the people that I have around me now. For once in my life, I feel like I'm very, very blessed because they all try to look after me, and it's like a full-time job for these poor people to keep Michael focused and on the where I need to be.
Yeah,
we
Michael
love
focused.
we
and,
love you, and that's why we say stay focused. The thing about
and
me, I was only 17, so I was young. I was
Yeah.
really young, and I didn't know much of life because I was only 17. And then all I knew of from 17 was illness, hospital, test, doctor. And I had doctors and say things to me like, why don't you go and let me see a person more iller than you? Back then it was horrendous. I think what the greatest thing I've learned from who I was then to who I is now is it has made me a more compassionate, empathic, understanding, kind person, that I listen to someone and I can feel their pain and I understand what they're going through because I can put myself in their shoes. It has also made me a more angry person where I want to fight for the little person.
Oh yeah.
And I want to take anyone down that hurts animals, kids, handicapped, elderly, disabled, or anything like that. It's made me very much more angry. It has also made me want more as a fighter to fight for people who are going through this. When I started Wicked Women, it was because I wanted to make a difference to someone, even if one person and got something from it. And this is why I wanted to look at this subject. I know we do lots of exciting and fun ones, but this is really important to me because this is something close to my heart, where it's like, you never know what's out around the corner for you. I didn't know this was going to be my path, but I've worked in prisons, I've done probation, I've done relationship, I've done one-to-one. I've worked in some very strange fields in my life where I can never talk about them because they're far too confidential. I have come across all kinds of people from all corners and walks of life, and I'm very grateful because it's taken me all these years to like me. Do I like my body and my health? I am grateful for my body because it has got me through 5 decades of health, right?
Yeah.
It's got me through 5 decades of health. So I say to my body, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me going. And thank you for giving me the strength to do it. Because I think my body, when people say, well, your body, no, my body's fucking amazing. It's survived all this stuff, constant stuff thrown at it, and operations and stuff, and it's still got me here. So I'm very, very proud of myself. And it's taken me years to say that. I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of my body.
You should be.
And I would say to anyone who's got a disability or a health problem, be proud of yourself and be grateful for your body, because at the end of the day, we only get this lifetime, as Wendy and Sparky and Michael, we only get this lifetime as this go. What our next
time I'm coming back rich. I'm probably struggling for.
And you've got to make the most of it. And it's like, maybe your path is a different one, and some of it sucks. Maybe you are in a wheelchair, maybe you are using a stick, maybe you are bedbound, but you can still make a difference to one person in one way or the other. When I was lying in bed, bedbound, could barely hear, see, I was in a terrible state, I said to my mum, I just want to die. And she said, one day, my girl, you're going to get out of that bed and you're going to make a difference, and you're going to get on plane and you're going to see things. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do it. And she was my mentor.
I love your mum so much.
You know what? She was damn right. Your
mum's great.
Damn right. And she
that's
still
what I'm saying.
So never give up. Never, ever give up.
I'll tell you what, Wendy's mom, if people don't know, her name is Sheila, a very, very lovely lady. And I was there I was on the phone with Wendy when she found her, bless her heart. And she is just like this stoic. And every time that I talk about coming to England, I imagine everybody sounds like Wendy's mom. It's just, and she told me, cause I lost my mom in 2015. And I was a big mama's boy. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? My mom was just force of nature for a little woman. And she told me, she said, well, honey, as long as I'm around, you'll always have a mom with me. And it made me cry.
Yeah.
Cause
I love mum. She's fantastic.
And
I just call her mum. So
it was no,
I wouldn't be
I
here.
just make my eyes water now when I think about it. But
not because she gave birth to me, but because she stopped me from jumping off cliffs.
But when she told me that, I felt it, because a lot of people tell you that, and you're like, oh, fuck, they're full of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful mom.
She's gorgeous.
She is,
and she's a little powerhouse as well. She's a little powerhouse rocket. I love her. I love her. Some of the stuff she comes out with, I go, Mom. She's
I was really ill with chronic fatigue on a relapse, because you relapse with chronic fatigue every 10 years, and my 10 years is not far away from coming, right? Okay, so I'm coming up with my next relapse coming up in the next year or so. And I used to have a jumper, and I used to pull this jumper apart, and I would constantly put holes in it because I couldn't get rid of my anxiety. So I would constantly do this jumper. And she'd come in and say, how's your jumper getting on? And I'd be like, it's getting more holes in it. It's getting more holes. And she kept that jumper for years for me. And then she'd buy me colouring books, because when you have like anxiety and everything like that, or your mind goes somewhere else when you colour. And I'm so grateful. I was blessed with an amazing mum. She drives me crazy, like all mums do, but I love her to death. She is the most amazing mum. But she's also given me that fire in my belly, that fuck you attitude, which is, and she says to me, I'm so proud of you, Wendy. I'm so proud of you. And I would say to everyone, if you have a child with a disability, or if you have a partner with a disability, make sure you always tell them that you love them and that you're proud of them, no matter how dark and how bad it gets, because they need to hear that sometimes, as we all
Yeah.
do.
And now I was gonna say, when you lost, and your mom was, she was right there. She drug that basket from pillow to post with you. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm thinking, she's got more energy that in her 80s than I do now. And I'm like, holy shit! She was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, I wish she was here, but since you're not, I'll handle it. And I'm like, okay. And then it's like, I'm like, but like I said, mom is very, very sweet.
I hope tonight. I mean, this is a subject. I know we've had a joke all the way on and off, which you need to. But this is something that's really close to my heart, and it's a subject where I will look at other different topics. But it's like every person on this planet, whether able-bodied or plain, walking around with one leg or one arm or in a wheelchair, whatever, blind, deaf, whatever which way it is, deserves to be treated with respect and love
and dignity.
If you cannot give someone that, and to realize they are a real person in that chair, they are a real person with that stick, and it's like, talk to them, talk to the person in the chair. Excuse me, talk to the person with the stick, because let me tell you, what do? Do we have to like wave something and go, actually, hello, I'm the person down here?
I'm real.
Really fucks me off. It really does. And when someone says they don't work because they can't, because of what they're going over, you don't always have to see a disability for there not to be a disability.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we feel financially, this is the last thing I wanted to touch, financially, if you don't work and you're on benefit, or you're on a low income and you're only working part-time or whatever the thing is, and you can only contribute so much, that probably took you all your time to pay for that. But you're like, I feel independent because I bought that. I feel independent because I paid for that. I've had to save up for it, like anybody in the same position. But when you go out and it's like your partner goes, well, I'd like us to have a holiday, but I can't have a holiday, can we? Because let's be honest, we're not going to be able to afford it because there's not enough money coming in. And you just feel like, well, why the hell are you with me? Why don't you just go off and find a woman who is going to give you all that money that you want to do and you want to go on holiday with? And I just think over the years, I could write a book about these things. And I want Wicked Women, as I said, if it makes a difference to one person. I know if Val was here, she has fibromyalgia. She has other health problems, and it's affected her just as badly. And sometimes we're not here. And, being the captain of the ship, I have to be well enough to do this show, right?
And
because but I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I really hope people have enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you, Sparky and Michael, for being open. I know it's not always an easy subject, but thank you so much for being open and sharing with me and everyone else.
And
I did keep some stuff under wraps. So
we got to save some for next week.
Oh no, I'm not gonna show off everything.
No, but I tell people the reason I push Wicked Women is because I know how hard y'all work.
Thank you.
And I've been told people, oh, you're white knighting or whatever, or you're whipped, if you know what I mean. And Wendy has told him, said, oh, he's not. Michael likes what he likes. Yeah. And he right now, he is really, really pushing this because he is not, what I'm saying. I thought I don't have to defend them. Both of them will give you a tongue lash to make you feel like you're that tall. But
well, we're trying. I mean, Wicked Women's been going a year and a bit now. I think we're actually 2 years, 2 years. And we're really proud of it.
Like and subscribe too.
There's going to be more subjects because I want to look at more grittier subjects as well. We've had to sort of build up the following, because when you're new on the block, you've got to get people to want to come and watch you and enjoy watching you, which we hope we do. And different ladies have come along and enjoyed us. And Val, obviously, she's the second co-host, and hopefully she'll be back here next week. But Michael, you're a great supporter. Thank you very much. And Sparky, you bring an absolutely different energy to the show, which I absolutely love.
And
I like to be a little bit different,
So
Say that.
before we end the show, we have 10 minutes before we end. Tell us about the week.
Mhm.
Sparky, what are you doing this week?
So this week coming up, I'm going on holiday. Yay! So
Yay.
I'm going on holiday with my friend Wolfie, Eddie. He was in here earlier actually, which was nice. But we're going to Center Parks, and we're just gonna. It's so we both need a holiday, and we've known each other for years, and we've got to the point of we both go on holiday together because we know that it's going to be chill, it's going to be relaxed, it's going to be fun. We call it a lads holiday because when I was drinking, it would be we get there, we go to the pub, and that was the holiday the whole time. This time we're going to be relaxing a little bit more. Obviously, with it being Center Parks, there's a pool, so I'm going to be going in and out of the pool. We've got darts to play. We've got pool, as in like American pool. We'll be playing that as well.
Total
I
shout out.
was going to say,
Yeah.
I was going to have to interpret for some of the American people. The pub is the bar. It's like a bar
The
crawl.
bar.
The bar. Yeah, you're going to the bar. And the other darts, that's the pointy things you don't throw at your buddy, but they got a round thing on the wall that's got like the numbers around it.
Darts.
Actually, I should throw on a gold league, so I'm pretty good at darts or billiards.
Yeah.
Billiards. But I want
Billiards, yeah.
Yeah. She's talking about Shakespeare. I want to see her to be or not to be and hold the skull up. Oh, okay.
Michael, what is your week coming up? What have you got planned?
Just the VA stuff and just more doctors and stuff and being the best pet parent I can and just picking up around and just trying to stay on task and focus here because right now I got to enjoy the good days because when the depression comes in everything goes to shit but I was gonna hold the skull up for
You got a skull. Are you gonna Hamlet me?
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
gonna Hamlet me?
I
Nice.
was going to say I need to hear it so quick as she's talking about shakes.
Is it Alas Poor
Alas, poor Yorick.
Yeah.
I knew him, Horatio.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, what is it? Yeah, Mary Beth. But yeah, quick. She said that for some reason. I was thinking, to be or not to be is the question.
That is the question.
That is the
Are
question.
you okay?
Oh yeah. Oh, she's just chasing the bass hole.
Yeah, probably. But every time she moves, I panic.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
No, I told her. I said, yeah, you really need a puppy. Because when Poseidon was little, she's like, oh, look, he's such an angel, Michael. He's not tearing up nothing.
It's okay.
Fucking tear her through the house. And
I
now I'm starting to get the benefit of now that he just turned 3, and now
He's
getting,
calming down now.
Now he is like you see now he's like
please let that happen to me because I can't stand it.
and,
I did say
and-
it's going to be at least 2.5 years old.
and
He's nearly there. He's nearly there, darling.
That kid's.
And,
I've
What's he
just got my
doing?
microphone back. I'm so sorry.
and but I see him, and that's like the other day.
What
She
did he
was
do?
laying down, and Huckleberry was laying there, and my dogs had something. Well, I think somebody was dropping off something from the VA. They always bring the package, and they send it in this little bitty envelope in this great big truck. The dogs see this great big truck, so they start raising hell. And here's poor Huckleberry looking like, holy fuck, there's some really big dogs around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And his eyes went like,
He's sitting right here beside me. So
Is
I'll
he?
let him out. But my week is I've just got things to do at home, and I've got work to do.
no more Comic Cons coming up or anything.
No more Comic Cons. But we all need, send out the energy.
That's it. Hey, if you do make the mistake and plan on getting married, you can.
I've got a
you're
really
okay.
bad back, and I have seen the osteopath 3 times in a week. I'm in a
Mhm.
lot of pain and a discomfort, and I'm having to do things incredibly slowly, which doesn't help
Mhm.
a 30-kilogram basset hound that's just like
Oh, I
on
was,
you.
I was trying to put a plug in for the Dark Hunters. If you do have the urge and the mistake to get married,
There he is. Look.
she would love to do your wedding or your bar mitzvah, your baptismal, we're non-denominational. It don't matter. Yeah, if you got enough money, hell, we'll ride you around London. You know what I'm saying?
We're not fussy. Darkhuntress.com.
Yeah, that's it.
TheDarkHuntress.com.
Yeah, the dog country. And
That's true.
like I said, if you got plenty of pounds in your pocket, we will ride you around like a rocket. We don't care.
Will we?
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll put you in the back seat.
Will we,
No.
Michael? Because
Will we indeed?
Hey, if we make enough money, I could finally get my ass over to the UK, and I'm
I was going to say it'll be me and Wendy doing it, not you.
yeah, so I said, y'all might have to do the wedding, but
Michael's just like directing us. So literally now as I said, we're in October looking at the show. We've got how many? We got 3 more Sundays of. Can you believe that? 3 more Sundays. In October. Oh my God.
But the 19th, we are going to be busy as well, though. Remember.
19th, yes, but there will be a show on the 19th, but we will be. We might be busy, but we will definitely do a Halloween one, and I would say it's on a Friday, which is kind of cool. But also we do have a couple of shows, and I really want to bring that one in because I think Dwayne has a lot to offer. Dwayne Klassen, he's you can look him up on Facebook. He's an amazing coach, and he's written a book for ladies for their husbands to really read. But it's actually the book he's just written is for ladies to understand. And I read some of it the other day, and it's inspired reading. I mean, I was just like, wow, you've outdone yourself here.
But it's good to have, and I tell people this is kind of, most of the time, women look at men like they're disabled, what I'm saying, between the ears because they keep telling them saying, and that's like earlier I was telling someone, look at the Cardinals, the male, big, flashy, he provides and protects or whatever and does these things in nature. I said, and the females more lighter brown, they're more nesting and they want everything kind of. I said, at the end of the day, you got to look at it. There's different thought process and different biology that makes us who we are as, like husband or wife or whatever. And I said, so don't think that what he's thinking just because you're thinking that it like from like a, an over analyzing, like what's the word I'm looking for? It's that they just over analyze a lot of stuff, and the poor guy's like, oh, bird, squirrel, tree, can I go hunting?
I think
there's my truck, and it's like,
Dwayne's very different. It's like, I think I'm just going to read this clip here. Relationships are the crucible of all your personal growth. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, and master your morning routine. But when you step into a relationship with someone, when you become intimate, every shadow, every unhealed wound, every belief you thought you buried comes roaring back to the surface. Relationships are the ultimate mirror. They will expose you, challenge you, and demand more of you than any seminar or book ever will. The question is, will you keep repeating the same patterns, or will you finally rise, own your story, and create the remarkable love you were born for? And actually, I really can relate to that because let's be honest, how many relationships have we had over and over again that are exactly the same? So I've taken and he's ladies, he's very easy on the eye, so I know you're going to enjoy Dwayne.
Thank you very much. I don't even try anymore.
Michael, you're very easy on the eye too, sweetie. You're very easy on the eye.
But like I said, but if people could see me like 30 minutes before I sat down here.
Yeah, I did.
and she had instead of Sparky's being there, it was like 2 Wendy's. So I come in and she's like, I'm like, who I was in here because I was going to get like dressed in front of the
naked. He was half naked. No one else.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And
damn, I missed it.
Yeah, all of it.
There was a lot of naked in. I mean, it's nothing that I've seen Michael half naked before a show, and we used to have this thing. When Val and everyone's here before we come on the show, we're always doing our mic check and light check and going over everything. Is this fine? Is everything like that? So
they always want me to put more.
I could have done with that earlier.
I don't know what it is. They keep saying, Michael, put more boobs out. And I'm thinking, I'm trying. I'm trying. It just ain't working. And but
I just need to buy the right bra for that. I do not have the right
you know
bra
what?
for
You know
that.
what? They said it's going to pass a law that women could go topless worldwide. I'm like, you know, if I'm not all about getting new laws in any country or any part of the world, but that's one I could get behind.
Yeah, but I love
I
my
love it.
lingerie, right? I love my lingerie. I never would want to go topless because, quite frankly, when you're a bigger lady and stuff like that with the girls, you don't unless they're being held up by some fine scaffolding, you know. So absolutely, I love my lingerie, and I wouldn't be
Yeah.
going topless. And every time I have, I've always ended up meeting someone on the beach that I know.
It's like,
I don't want to
how,
do that.
how are you and
Sorry.
you doing?
I'm sorry. I have a story. It's a really funny one before we go. I was on holiday in Italy with a boyfriend, and we decided to go to the beach. And I've never done the whole. This is going back years now, but I've never done the whole topless thing. And he's like, "Well, let's go to the beach." I said, "Fair enough." So we went to the beach. And I thought, well, everyone else is going topless. I'll do. Knickers on, so I was like, okay, I'll do the topless. There I am, lying in the sun in all my glory, and the shadow comes over you like this, and you look up, and there's this guy standing there, and he belonged to it. We'd all gone away in a group, and he belonged to one of the group. And out of all the beach, he'd found us. Hi, he's gone leaning over me. Hi, I was just like, oh my God. So I thought, be cool here, Win. Be cool, right? You've got a choice. What are you going to do? And I was like, hi. He was like, oh, of all the places to see. Now, he'd obviously walk around the beach. But anyway, I thought, be cool, Wendy. So I had to turn over onto my front.
Just do like a casual kind of.
Yeah, there was a casual turnover, and I was like, mustn't get this too burnt, must anyway.
Yeah,
and
no
Gotta
tan
do
on
the other side.
a couple of hours later, we're all meeting up for dinner. God help us. And I was like, oh, I can't believe it. I know he's going to be there. And anyway, so we're going to dinner. He comes up to me and he goes, I have to say, you have a marvelous figure. Marvelous.
At least he said it that way. At least he said it that way.
But that we was actually talking about this earlier. I always said, my country, as great as it is, and I'm proud of who I am and how I was brought up. And but I have traveled the world over, and I said the one thing, if there's anything that I could change about my country, I would tell people to quit being so damn prudish when it comes to sex. Their breasts, their his body parts. Babies
Hey,
nursed
boobs
on
are great.
them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Babies nurse on them. Grown men want to nurse on them.
He hadn't finished that. He hadn't finished the sentence, because what he actually said to me was, you're absolutely wasted with the one you're dating. And I said, yes, I think you might be right there. He said, I could actually fit you up with some very nice gentlemen. I looked at him and I said, excuse me? He's like, honestly, they treat you like a lady. I said, do you mean like they're going to take me out like an escort? And he was like, honestly, marvelous. You should be making the most of it. And I was like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And saying that's how Wendy joined the cult, kids. But anyway, yeah, it's like
That was my story of the time I went topless. Since then, never done it, and probably never will. But that was
lately.
But I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight. We've been going 2 hours, so I know Sparky has to get up super early in the morning.
I do.
And I have to too. So I'm bring the show to an end, and we do hope Val will join us and be back next week. Get well soon, Val.
Get well soon.
Yeah. We need to get back. Talking about a lady that's not
Chop,
afraid
chop.
to go. Yes,
Michael and
it's
Sparky
spaghetti top.
have been amazing. I'm going to let Michael take the show out, and I will see you all next week, and have a wonderful week. Michael, off you go.
Not like I said, hurry up, get better, Val. Hurry back. The woman that puts the spaghetti and spaghetti top. No, like and they always say, be good to everyone that you can be. Surround yourself with peace, love, and happiness. And if you can't, have the day you deserve. But from everybody here at Wicked Women, we love to see you next Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Now I'm screwing it up. 2 p.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. California time, and 9 o'clock UK time.
And like, share, and subscribe, please.
Please. We
and don't
need.
forget to press the bell for the notification for when we
Yeah,
go
yeah.
live.
The notification bell. I always forget about that, but that's really important from what I hear about the algorithm. The bell is really important,
Hell yeah.
and we need 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize these ladies, so they can buy me a plane ticket to go to the UK.
So I can monetize these ladies.
That's it.
Can I,
You know what I'm saying? I
that
have been
needs to be
working
like
my
on a
ass-
plaque.
the monetize.
They have been doing that to us for years.
But you know what I'm saying? But no, and I tell people, they're like, why? I was like, come on, you got to subscribe. Why? I have a purpose in life. They need us 1,000 subscribers so they can monetize. And for 2 years, I have beat this drum. I have carried it, and I have carried this. I'm like, they're like, well, what if I don't watch? I
On
don't give a
planes
fuck.
and in shops, you need to watch Wicked Women. I do tell people a lot about the podcast now. I
And,
do. The thing is, as well,
I
the
have
bell,
no shame whatsoever.
like, share, subscribe.
I
I am trying to do that now with the banners, more like share and subscribe.
Yeah.
There was something good you said before. You cannot have a Sunday without a bit of Wicked. There you go.
That's it. That's it. That's what I tell them. This is my Sunday. People's like, I'm gonna come by. Well, you can fuck off. The door will be locked and the dog will bite you. You know, they're trained to guard the door on Sunday between 4 and 7. Because it takes me because it's about 2 hours. We come a little before, so about 3 hours on Sunday. Them dogs are on point. They're like, sounds like they ain't gonna screw up my mom's show. I'll bite them. I'm a big boy now.
Mine stayed quiet as well because
He did really well.
He did really well. The drugs are obviously helping that I put in his thing.
Yeah, they're the right ones. They're not anything extra. Okay, they are the prescribed ones from the vet.
I could tell you guys all night, and I know I have to let you go. But listen, guys, have a wonderful week. We'll see you on next Sunday. Val, hopefully we'll be back with another great topic from the Wicked team. Until then, as Michael said, be nice to yourself and take care of each other.
Yeah,
And
Wendy.
we'll see you next week.